Yeah.
Oh,
You are
live.
live. And then
The
we will go
broadcast is
to view on YouTube.
Look,
And I
TJ,
will-
my curtains are closing. You can't see them, but it got darker
I can't.
because
I'm
I
jelly.
got the curtain.
You got your new rods?
Yeah, and I put the show me the Quara things on it. They work pretty well.
Nice.
I hate their driver support, but I mean, I had to write their driver and reverse engineer what a lot of it was doing, but I got it.
I'm about to next week I have my Lutron shades training, and I thought about buying some shades for my apartment, but I realized I always leave my shades closed, so I'm probably not going to do that.
Yeah, too much shady things going in your place, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I know. Check. Do I have the right volumes?
Nobody needs to see me stabbing my cat, so.
Oh, the poor cat.
Wow.
What? She's got to get subcutaneous fluids every other day.
I thought you were going to say something. Nobody needs to see you with Timothy's wife.
Family show. We're going to get removed from
that
YouTube.
That is not appropriate, Gavin.
Poor Timothy's wife. You know,
my cat is sick. That is not funny.
Get rid of Timothy first, and then you take advantage of his wife. Like,
oh, poor Timothy.
Oh, that was sad.
Guy ran out.
That was a funny cosplay, though, wasn't it?
That was really good. Yeah.
Just one of the comments was like, "Isn't that where the beak is supposed to go?" And the other one was like, "He can talk to sea animals, so it's consensual."
All right. I don't know what to think about this one. Okay, let's get into
396. Is that what it is?
This is 396. Yeah,
man.
396.
Almost to 400, man.
Wait, what are we doing for 400? Talking about the AT. You will finally.
We're just gonna quit, I guess.
I lost track of what our count was. When did we start? 3971.
This year.
Yeah, we're on a good streak. Let's not break it, boys.
Yeah. It's good. It was a good streak. We're all done now, though. All right. Good to go. That's launched. All right. I'm recording, and I'm just verifying that I'm recording. All right.
I'm recording for the past 3 minutes.
So much to edit out. This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, July 22nd. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Powell, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
From Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
This is the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast about all aspects of home technology, home automation, all sorts of fun. Gavin, I've been sending you pictures of big racks all weekend, and were you able to get anything done? Like, no,
nothing at all yet. I'm still rack hunting. It's not even just the cost of the rack, but all the accessories that I need for the rack too. So I found some options, and I may pull the trigger on some stuff this week, but I'll see.
Yeah. We're dance monkeys. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for joining us in that. There we go. Yep, that's what we do. Yeah, the accessories add up. They really do. Power. Nobody thinks about power and stuff in a rack.
Ooh, power is super important.
Yep, you got to power things on.
You got to have your nice battery backup, and then also more than likely you have other power needs. So you have to get a nice like rack mounted power strip or surge protector as well. Got to expand those outlets a little bit. So
not happy right now. He's like, what have I got myself into? Just throw it in a closet. Just throw it all in a closet.
I think like 1,000 MSRP, you can get like a watt box and like a nice like faceplate for it as well. So we could easily push that rack budget to many thousands of dollars.
That's easy. Yeah.
At that point, I'm just gonna hire somebody to just come do it for me.
Or just buy one with the door. Just buy one with the door, and then you just shove everything in there. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You close the door, and it looks beautiful. There you go.
Yeah, just go buy like an IKEA wardrobe or something, and just chuck it all in.
I keep getting the algorithm must be listening to us through Gavin's echo there, because I keep getting like pictures of DIY IKEA racks underneath tables and stuff like that. I'm like, this is not what I want to see. It's not, what do they call it? The wire porn subreddit that I subscribe to. I don't want to see this. Cable porn. There we are. Yeah. Wire porn is probably something else. Don't go look at that, kids.
Don't go to wireporn.com. Now I'm curious what's there.
Here we go.
Do it on your own time, Gavin.
I do it live, and it's redirecting me, and I've just been selected for $1,600 free.
Oh, nice, man.
Well, it's better than going to a wink website.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
at
we'll
least
get
I
into
got
that.
somewhere.
We'll get into that later for sure. But first, we got some big news from the guys over at Innovelli. Well, evidently it's secret, but
Secret big news.
Secret big news. Yeah, I guess they've officially they've teamed up and executed a contract between, quote, us and another IoT group. It's kind of a weird way of putting it, but I guess that means that maybe they have some cash coming into the company, or they're able to team up with somebody that has a lot more cash and money to burn, making cool Zigbee products. So, Gavin, you're a little bit closer to Innovelli and like ear on the ground, or what is it? Ear on the train track.
I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I watch this company closely because they're very vocal about what's happening with the company, and I really find that interesting to see like the challenges they have, what they go through. So every now and then, Eric posts a long-winded post, and he gives us all the background gossip and juice, and I really like that. And this time, he's talking about how they've partnered with another company. He's not allowed to mention it, but if you go into their shop on their website, you kind of see a whole bunch of products from another company. But this company isn't just giving them cash, but it also looks like they're going to be helping them just because it's a bigger company within the Z-Wave space. It will help them with getting some product, getting some priority, because apparently, they're not big enough. Innovelli's not big enough to get any Z-Wave anytime soon.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, this bigger company is going to help them get that. While at the same time, they are pushing out Zigbee devices as well. So they're a great company. I love their devices. It's just I hope they can get through this.
Yeah. So the other brand that seems to be appearing on their website, I'm scrolling through, AOTech seems to be.
Oh, you weren't supposed to mention it.
I'm not. I'm under NDA. I can't say that. Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have the ability to team up with somebody who may be better at product management, or have the access, and like you said, like a lot of the companies, like if you don't have a minimum order of 1 million chips or whatever, we're not going to talk to you. But maybe AOTech does, because they're a bigger brand, or they sell more product. And maybe even teaming up together, they can kick into another buying tier and get in front of the line of some other people. Who knows? But it's always better. It's always better if we've done that at our office. Like there's a bigger company that we work with that does manufacturing. We do distribution, but they do manufacturing really well, and they have guys that come over and like product manage some stuff for us, and we kind of work hand in hand on a couple of things to get stuff moving. So yeah, it's always good to have help where you can find it.
Well, the good news is we should hear something relatively soon in the technology timeline as well. At least they said they need some products by CES 2023. So I think CES usually happens January or February.
Yeah.
So less than 6 months to go until we see some newer products, or maybe just a replenishment of current products.
Right, because this has been one of those ones that's been out of stock for just about everything. So it's kind of hard to keep a company going if you don't have anything to sell, which is not just these guys, but is everybody else. So,
unless you're Ubiquity and you can just make a ton of accessories
and just slowly dribble them out.
A little different back panels, covers for access points, patch cables. You just gotta make all the accessories.
And how? I mean, I'm gonna say something I gotta bleep out later, but like how much of a move was it to call the rack panels, the blank panels, OCD plates? I mean, okay, that's what it is, but like,
were they like OCD magic blanks or something like that?
Yeah, I could just see somebody sitting there like, why does anybody want a blank plate? This is dumb. You don't need blank plates to and so yeah, let's call them OCD plates. And okay, thanks, Ubiquity. Thanks for that one. Nailed it though.
That is one of the complaints I've seen on the Ubiquity subreddit, is that you have all these nice silver Ubiquity devices in the nice black rack, and everything else is just black in color.
Yep.
So totally makes sense that they would release something like that.
They make a white rack too. So like they make the white rack, and people go out and they have, I think there's like a couple of, if you dig deep enough, there's like paint swatches that people have gone out and like, I think it's this, and they find the paint color that matches close enough to the silver that Ubiquiti is, and they'll go and they'll paint all of their little things, all their panels and everything, and show off their OCD rack. So yeah, Gavin, this is what awaits you once you get moving. Like you'll get into the OCD realm of rack accessories, and it just doesn't stop, man. It's a lifestyle.
I just opened up a new tab with their mini racks, and these look nice. Oh,
they're pretty nice. I think they're only like small ones though, aren't they? Like 6U or 9U or something. Yeah.
Close tab. All right, let's move on.
You get way more out of IKEA tables than you do out of one of these things. So.
I say whenever you get your whenever you build your lack rack, you're gonna have to find some a paint swatch for white stained oak effect. That way you can make it the same as everything else.
There we go. Well, what do you guys say we jump into some home tech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, Apple announced Apple Music Sessions, which is a new series of live performances that will be available exclusively to subscribers of the company's music service. Carrie Underwood and Tenille Towns. I have no idea who these. I know who Carrie Underwood is because she's kind of famous, but we listened to the other lady here before, and I was like, I don't know who this is. Anyway, first two artists to be featured, and for now, the sessions will be mostly geared towards country music, which makes sense. I mean, country music is live music, so that's likely because they're being recorded in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville is like a major music market. Tons of people record there aren't country. But anyway, Apple. This is like says a bad article here. Apple describes Apple has built a state-of-the-art studio there, and that's what's bringing people in. But yeah, whatever. There's plenty of state-of-the-art studios in Nashville as well. So the company plans to tap into other genres and use other recording studios around the world in the future, according to the press release. For each sessions, artists will perform original songs as well as creative covers. Carrie Underwood went with Ozzy Osbourne's Mama, I'm Coming Home, and Towns opening for Etta James At Last. So sounds like a cool thing. If you're Apple Music subscriber, you can just there's a couple links in this article we'll link to in the show notes, but just click on that and it'll go right into the sessions. I think this is really, really kind of cool. I mean, it's bonus. Apple has trillions of dollars. They may as well spend it doing something nice for us, right? Better than OCD plates.
I'm surprised they picked that At Last song. I like the song, but man, it was killed by American Idol. I'm so sick of hearing that song. First, I was like, yes, but after the 50th time, I'm done. But in this space, I really like what they're doing with music. They're taking music to another level. And I like that because even Sony has their version of this, 360 audio or something like that. And artists are releasing albums where it's recorded in this space. And I really like how they're making like audio, like that you can get immersed in it. It's all around you and stuff like that. And that's taking something to a next level. I look forward to see what they come with this.
It's crazy to think that there's more that goes into good audio than just turning it up louder. I've never experienced spatial audio like this. I'm interested in trying it myself. But just like what Gavin said, I'm interested to see what this kind of, brings forward for everybody else. And hopefully we get a lot better audio out of it.
Yeah. One thing we noticed, I think James in the hub was talking about, they were trying to get some Atmos music to play in a theater that they had just made through a video distribution system. And for whatever reason, like this particular, like Atmos is supported with the video distribution system, but like this one particular aspect of it, whatever, I can't remember what it was, wasn't supported.
Like Dolby Matte or something.
Yes,
yeah.
Dolby Vision Matte.
A weird particular aspect of getting these like immersive audio sounds plus the video down through a system into the projector. I mean, the solution at the end of the day was just to hook directly into the AV system and the projector in the room rather than going through the video distribution system. But kind of one of those like gotcha things, like we as integrators, we always run into because we try and go crazy with these systems sometimes. So.
And the only thing I'm thinking of, the file sizes are going to be huge on Napster with these emergency these spatial audio things. Like it's going to take me a while to download off my Napster.
you're gonna need 5G service in order to stream it. So
Right.
Exactly.
All right, we'll move on. You need 5G and one of these new Ubiquity alien router things they have here. So, Ubiquity has released new firmware for the Amplify Alien. It has version 3.7.0. It has a couple of changes, including some time zone fixes. But Ubiquity says the release also adds Apple HomeKit security features to the Amplify Alien in standalone router setups. So, that's the HomeKit secure router that launched with a number of partners way back when they announced this. But it's basically like a security feature that you can use with your home app to basically configure your router to have like network segregation. So all your IoT devices can be put over here and they can't talk to anything inside the house. They just talk out to the internet, do their thing, and then they can't side channel attack like a vulnerable computer or device that you have in your house. So it does improve security that way. There's different modes that you can put devices in. Restrict to home, which allows IoT HomeKit devices to use your Apple TV or HomePod as the home hub, but they won't be able to talk to anything else, any local devices. Automatic will allow the devices to use HomeKit and get firmware updates as they need them. And then no restriction is the Wild West. It's basically what you have right now if you don't have one of these and you're not using like VLANs or something like that. But it allows any device to talk to any device on the network or on the internet. So I think it's a good idea. People have been really concerned about security when it comes to IoT devices, and that is a constant like drumbeat that you hear when it comes to what people want to see out of new IoT devices, and definitely hits the news cycle. I mean, there was a article floating around this last week that Ring had opened up or given police video without a warrant in like 11 cases or something like that where it was like deemed an extreme emergency, and they just kind of used their better judgment to decide to not inform whoever owned the camera that they were going to give them the video to the police, but they just did it anyway. Which, some people would be like, okay, maybe that's good, maybe it's bad, but some people may not like that. And, if you have these IoT devices and are concerned about security, it's a tough place to be right now, right? Like there's not much that's offered with the traditional networking stuff other than like going and getting like a VLAN capable router where you can set up guest networks and Wi-Fi IoT networks and all this stuff, or doing something like the HomeKit version of it where it's kind of like it's just the same thing but easier, but there's not much in the way of like preventing your data from getting leaked online and that kind of stuff, or sent off to the police just because Amazon thought it was necessary, I guess. I don't know. Gavin, I know you're not big into the HomeKit, but what do you think about? I know you deal with security every day at work. What do you think about bringing that type of security into the home?
I think it's always good to have more security, but I wonder how many people are actually going to use this. Like sometimes when you add security, it makes things more difficult. They must be doing some magic, because if your things are segregated, then would your AirPlay still work? If you tried to AirPlay from your phone, and your phone's on the home network, they must have ports open and handle all that stuff, right? In my smart home, I can't do this because everything's so integrated through everything that it would just be a nightmare for me to have to figure out every port of every device. Why, even if you had Wemos in your house, try and figure out, broadcast messaging, getting them to work across the subnets. It gets ridiculous. And for the average person, it's just too much work. So if this is going to make it easier though, that's great. But
I think that's their goal with this, is to make it like a 3-choice, 1-click type setup. Like to where you can obtain or at least get close to the security you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's their goal. And I kind of agree with you. Like, who's going to use this if it causes like even the most slight inconvenience and my product doesn't work? Like, I'm just going to turn this stupid thing off. We'll turn it like what is the thing in Apple? Like every now and then you download something from a website online. It's like a legit thing, but it came from this website. It didn't go through Apple and get signed or anything. So you have to like go turn off the specific security settings. Like, people are just going to do that. Like they're going to bypass it.
And that's the default. That's the default feeling with a lot of people is once there's something not working, just turn off your security. And look, it all works. And they rather it work and be unsecure than it not working, right? So
like the
they better
Windows,
get it right.
the Windows, this needs your permission to run this program or whatever. And it's like I just know where the button, like based on the
User
window
account control. Yeah.
yeah. It's like the screen gets dim and this message comes up, and I don't even have to look anymore. I'm just like, click. It's all it is. TJ,
Well,
what do you?
and
Go
something
ahead.
like this, something like this, I think could simplify the process, right? Where, Gavin, you're talking about where maybe devices can't communicate across different VLANs and stuff like that. Maybe this could help simplify that process where you could actually target certain devices to be able to crosstalk. And, kind of what nice features people get out of like PF Sense and some other things where you're able to block specific websites or block, different aspects of the network. Maybe that could be expanded into something like this eventually and give everybody access to it right in the same application. So I don't know if I would use this right now, but I can see where they're going with it as long as it does what it does and it doesn't, hinder performance down the road. Because just like what you guys said, as soon as somebody's inconvenienced by it, they're just going to turn it off and that's it, unless it's forced upon them. So you got to make it easy and you got to make it work the first time.
Baby steps. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yep.
Baby steps.
And most people just aren't that worried about this aspect of home automation. If you go into like the home automation subreddit, people are talking about different VLANs and not allowing devices to talk to the cloud and all that stuff. 90% of people have no idea what any of that stuff is, and they just want it to work, and they're not going to use this feature at all. But for the people that are a little more technically inclined and they want that little more control, maybe they will.
And when it comes to security, for years when I built a new Windows PC and I put it on my network, the first thing I did was turn off the firewall on that thing, right? Like it's on my network. I trust my network. I know my network, but that firewall was so annoying, right? Where things just didn't work. And that was my default thing. Turn off the firewall. It was actually only last month I started turning back on the firewall on all my PCs. And the only reason I did that is because they keep popping up the most annoying message about your firewall being off that I decided to like, screw it. I'm just going to turn it back on. And they've improved it a lot. Things actually still worked when I turned back on the firewall. So I was kind of happy with that. It's like, it takes time for them to get their security working properly. Right. And once they get to that point, then people will just leave it on and utilize it and feel more comfortable with it.
Well, and that could be a feature, down the road where, maybe you get a pop-up one day and it's like, hey, this Wemo light switch that you installed talks to the internet like 50,000 times a day. Is that normal? Kind of like when you download certain applications now on like iOS and it asks you if you want to be tracked or not for advertisements. So maybe, as they start implementing that kind of stuff, you'll be able to see more of those things. And people will be more aware of what's going on at that point, and be able to make better decisions about what they're installing in their house and what they're allowing to have access.
That's a great idea, actually. You should like a patent that or something,
Already on the way.
All right.
It's in the mail. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think this is the purpose of all this is just ease of use and to hopefully not stand in people's way, like you were saying, so they don't turn it off. But we'll see what it ends up being. I don't have one of these routers. I don't really plan on having one of these types of routers. It's like I'm comfortable living the flatland net lifestyle. I don't need to segregate things away, and I actually like have just a giant subnet with like thousands of IP addresses available just because I can. And I'm sure that causes problems somewhere, but I don't care because it doesn't cause a problem for me. And TJ, it's funny you were saying that most people don't care. I would say 90% of the like install technicians, the pro technicians, have no idea how to properly set up, configure a VLAN. And even if they did, they probably like run into so many problems with it. They're just never, like I did. They just never do that again. Like that was just a big mistake. But if it could be like a one-click thing and it gets everything up and going, hey, there you go. That's a win-win for everybody. All right, let's move on here to Google ruining its products. Actually, yeah, we'll go there first. We've got a pending graveyard we've got to talk about. TJ kind of teased us a little bit about it.
Bruno. Hey, Bruno. Sorry.
Wow. Bruno, that's a name. That's a name from a long time ago. How's it going, buddy? Yeah, so Google and Sonos have been having this little spat for a while. Sonos wins at the international court, and they say, yeah, you are infringing on these patents. And what's Google do? Instead of taking their products off the market, they just start taking features off of their products without telling anybody. So there's no complete list, but here are a couple of things that you can't do anymore that you used to be able to do with Google. And the assumption is this has to do with the lawsuit and the loss here. You say casting volume controls were removed and then added back in a way that presumably circumvented Sonos patents. Volume controls for group speakers have been lost, both in hardware, like on the volume control keys, and in software. So the apps, assistant, and voice-based controls can't do that anymore. Group speakers no longer work on devices running older cast firmware. Product installation and updates may require a device utility app for a small set of users. Google Home app has lost the quote cast my audio button for speaker groups, and Pixel phones in the US can no longer set up Chromecasts and possibly other devices. Customers that own a Pixel device effectively can't move Chromecast between Wi-Fi networks or set them up to a newly purchased or reset a device at all. Like if you have a Pixel phone and a Chromecast device, you're just screwed. Like you can't just get something else because you're not going to use that. Google has acknowledged some of these issues while others have been basically posted online. TJ, this is kind of wild. Like we knew there was stuff coming down the pipe for this, but like I thought that Google and someone else would come to an agreement. No, Google's like, we'll still sell the same thing, but you're just going to get less of it, and it's not going to work as nice.
What's hilarious is that they could just pay Sonos and all this would be over. And I'm assuming in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not that much money. I honestly don't know how much it is, but it's probably not that much money to Google in the long run when they could just get everything functioning again if they just paid for the patent. But instead, they're just going to throw their users under the bus and destroy their products at the same time. And I don't get that part. Like there's an obvious solution. It's relatively simple. Just do it. Why do you have to like constantly drag everybody around and ruin what they have already?
It doesn't make sense to me. Gavin, what do you think about this?
What this tells me is that Google's obviously, it's cheaper for them to just kill this stuff than it is to pay that patent. It's like they're probably who's using this stuff. You know, they probably looked at each feature and said, well, we're going to piss off 10 people with this one, scratch it. We're going to piss off 20 people with this one. All right, scratch it. Or we could pay 165 million. You know, like that's one of the reasons I never really got into the Google ecosystem is because, you know, one day like features come, features go, products get retired very frequently by them. The Amazon ecosystem is a little bit more stable. I mean, it's still a mess over there, but at least a little more stable in terms of their products. But you know, I'm not surprised. And what's the future of these products going to be? You know, you don't know if they're planning to retire these and they're just like, you know what, we're getting rid of these anyway, so let's not, you know, pay this patent. We'll figure out another way.
Well, in true Google fashion, you don't know if the device you've bought is going to last 6 months or 6 years. Yeah. So, you know, unfortunately, now everybody just has to kind of wonder when this stuff is going to die because it sounds like it will sometime soon.
I mean, it sounds like effectively for anyone who has a Pixel phone and a Chromecast device, it is effectively dead because it just doesn't work together anymore. You can't set it up. You can't reset it. You just there's not much you can. There's nothing you can do at least according to this article and what evidence they have posted in their own experience. But man, it sounds like to me that I think Gavin, you hit it nail on the head. Like it's easier for them to pay a fine or to not pay the fine and just pay lawyers to drag this out and wear Sonos down. And Sonos really doesn't like they can appeal and maybe win some of it back, but like Sonos doesn't really have to do anything other than fight. So maybe they're just it's a war of attrition, right? Like they just kind of keep Sonos having to pay the lawyers and repeatedly filing the same thing over and over again, just to stay on top. I don't know. They're definitely being bullies here, and the consumers their consumers are definitely losing. It's not great.
Well, and it's funny if you go into like an Android or like Google Home subreddit or other kind of forum, and you know you hear the Android fanboys talking about it. Everybody's like mad at Sonos. It's like I can't believe Sonos would patent such like a simple technology, and I can't believe Sonos would hold this against Google and stuff like that. And it's like Google is a much larger company that could easily pay. Like
Yeah.
the problem is not Google at this point. The problem is not with Sonos at this point. It is with Google. So
Yeah.
if you should be mad at anybody, you should be mad at Google.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
people obviously don't know the patents. People patent the stupidest, the smallest little thing, right? And you can infringe on that so easily. Like, who owned the patent for Z-Wave switches reporting their status back? Was it Lutron, I think? And for the longest while, switches could not report their status back. You had to pull them to get their status. And you think of it and you're like, why are they even allowed to patent something like that? Like, it should be a feature on everything, but that's the way the world works. So, you gotta understand that.
Well, and sometimes with these products, when they, I would imagine a large percentage of patents are kind of silly. But you also have to remember that a certain number of them are like truly revolutionary ideas or concepts that company actually implemented for the first time compared to somebody else. So while now it makes sense to have whole home audio control all from like one touchscreen, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when this was patented, that didn't make any sense to anybody. Everybody was probably looking at that and was like, that, why would anybody want that? Nobody's going to do that. Nobody even has cell phones or anything. How are they going to do this?
AT&T knew.
AT&T did know.
Oh, yes.
You will
know.
But
We'll
it's important to remember when some of this stuff was patented and the companies behind it. And I will say, out of all the companies that I deal with, I think Sonos is absolutely one of the best in terms of support and just customer service in general. So I would trust them more than I would trust Google.
Yeah, I mean, when I have problems with people having patents is when they're the patent trolls. Like they're just they snap up some IP and they're just like, we're gonna sue you in the Eastern District of Texas so we can have our paid off judges rule against you and charge a bunch of money. But Sonos is not that company. Like they are making the speakers that have and contain these patented operations in them, and they're actively trying to make a better product. Like they're not a patent troll in any way, shape, or form. And if a court has come back and said, hey, Google, you did steal this stuff from Sonos, even though it is basic, you were aware and Sonos asked you to stop selling the stuff or stop, pay licensing, and you refused. Like, you are the bad guy. You are the baddie. That's the case at this point. I don't think that's very defensible. And truly, I'm sure Google is hundreds of billions of dollar company. I think Sonos is a few billion. Like they're a decent sized company now. They're not small. They're worldwide. They do a lot of sales, but they're not Google. They're not huge money like that. $1 trillion company.
Yeah, so Sonos could easily be snapped up by Google, probably for as much as this fine is. So, or as much as the patent is. So, they should just buy Sonos and get it over with.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we'll move on here from a potential graveyard issue to probably, this is like 90%, I'm sure, a graveyard issue. Wink, guys. We recorded the show last week, kind of floated over this because we really weren't sure what was going on. But within the week, like Wink had basically posted an update, but they've been down for like 3 weeks. Like the website, everything, all their services, everything has been down for about 3 weeks with no sign of a fix. Outages left customers of the company who they actually pay $5 a month to access the service. So it's not like they're freeloading on this thing. Completely like down, like they're not able to use their stuff. From what I understand, if your device reboots, like you're just done. Like it's not going to talk to anything. It's so bad that even Wink's website and email are affected, which gives, according to this article, strong whiffs of somebody didn't pay the bill this month. I think it's a little bit worse than that at this point. There's no communication from Wink about what was going on. It's like July 1st, things just stopped working. Website was down, affected. But then like July 12th, they posted an update on their status page and said, update, we are continuing to work on a fix for connectivity issues. We will post here when we have a resolution. That was the 12th. It's we're recording on the 19th, and I suspect that this isn't going to be updated. by the time we publish on the this on the 22nd. So
Update. We have no idea what's going on. Thank you.
we know we didn't pay the bill is what they should say.
Well, this leads into my next conversation. We're actually going to set up a GoFundMe. I think if we aim for like $100,000, we can just buy Wink and rebrand it to something else and have our own home automation platform.
Yeah.
So we should be able to get it for pretty cheap, I would think.
$100,000.
$100,000, maybe like a custom weird car. Will.i.am really likes weird cars. Maybe we can find him something down in Florida that he really like. But
plenty of weird cars here. Yeah.
Make a trade for it.
Yeah. We'll see what we can do. We'll put that as like a Patreon stretch goal or something. Like buy Wink. We'll put that in there. $100,000 at the $100,000 level. We'll make an attempt to buy Wink if somebody wants to push that out through Patreon. So yeah, it's a good idea. I don't know. Everybody loved this product when it first came out because it was one of the ones that was like aggregating things. Like you could integrate all sorts of different products before everything got so siloed. And then easy to use. I even had like their egg minder, which I threw away, unfortunately, because it was kind of awful. But it would tell you like if your eggs were bad or how long they had been there and if you need to get new eggs. But yeah, it was a nice little product and it was nicely put together, but it just didn't work that well because it was an egg thing, like a battery operated device with radios inside a refrigerator. Like, I don't know why they didn't think of that, but it's Wi-Fi inside a refrigerator. It's not going to work.
And how often do you need to know the status of your eggs? I mean,
well, I could check from my desk how many eggs I had, like, yeah. And what date they were bought on and all
I
that.
guess
like,
if you're cooking a lot of like cakes or something, I don't know.
Omelets, yeah.
Why not come out with like a milk jug?
Like a Wink carafe.
That sounds like a product for like SwitchBot or Wise now.
Yeah, there we go.
A carafe, a Wise carafe.
There you go.
No, I always liked I liked Wink for what it was. I actually had one of the hubs for a little bit. I think I tried it for like 2 weeks. It wasn't my thing. I will say the hardware felt all right. It wasn't like completely awful. The software left a little to be desired. And this has been kind of happening for the past several years now. Whenever Will.i.am bought it out, everybody was kind of just thinking it would just die within like 6 months. And instead of it dying within 6 months, it's been kind of gradually happening over the past several years. So maybe this year we'll ring the death knell for Wink.
And this seems to be an era. This seems to be the new trend for products dying. Like, so my rule of thumb now is if a service goes down, I don't panic right away. But if it's down for 24 hours, it's dead. It's done. I'm looking for the backups. I'm out of there. And you don't hear anything from management. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, I would say after like the 3rd day mark, that would kind of prove to me that like there's probably nobody working on it. Or if there is, it's one guy who is just like completely overworked.
It's Will.i.am.
It's literally just Will.i.am.
Will sitting there on a computer, trying to figure out what's going on.
Typing in commands in Linux and looking on Stack Overflow, like what? How do you do this? This Nginx is not right.
Enhance.
Oh man. Well, good luck, Will. Hope you get Wink back up and going soon. Because man, not that $5 a month is like an extraordinary amount of money, but like you would think that would say, like you'd be able to. They cut everybody off. Like if you had an egg minder and you wanted that monitored through Wink, you'd have to pay $5 a month for that. But you would think that like they would have built that into the business plan. Like, okay, well, we know $5 is going to cover the basic, keep the lights on bills and everything, but evidently not. Like that's not how it works. So I don't even think you can you still buy Wink like hubs and stuff? I think I have one. I was looking over my shoulder to see if I could see anything on the shelf back there. I think I
honestly, they used to sell like Walmart and everything, and I have not seen one in a store in forever. So
Walmart has this weird brand like Kangaroo or something, and it's like the branding on the packaging says this is a video doorbell, like or something.
Yeah, I think that's their on brand. ONN, I think.
Yeah.
What is I have to ask though, what do you think is worse? Shutting down randomly and just not telling anybody, or just telling somebody 2 weeks in that you don't know what the problem is? Like, are you in the Insteon camp or are you in the Wink camp?
You know what? If you told me 2 weeks in you don't know what the problem is, but you're still working on it, I'll sit there and wait. knowing that one day it will come back, right?
Yeah,
But
they don't know what the problem is. That's
Yeah.
the
I was
problem.
gonna say there's a problem somewhere.
They're working on that fix still. They'll post updates when they have a resolution, and it could be another 2 weeks. Who knows before somebody gets back to? Maybe it's just somebody like part time, and they're just like, I have no idea. I honestly I don't like. I'd love to know what's going on here. It's kind of like a black hole, like that was Insteon. Like, where is this company? Where is it based? Where's support based? Like, how does this work? Like, do they just have a giant queue of emails that are just being auto replied and that say, hang on, keep checking the status page. We're working on a fix. Like, I don't know. It just seems kind of wild. Like, where is this? Where is this company? Like, who is in charge? It's very strange.
Well, I think my leading theory right now is that Will.i.am decided to cut cost, and they installed a server inside of one of his custom cars, and they accidentally traded the custom car in to somebody, and the whole company just went out.
Clicking see all reviews on Amazon to see what. Oh, Tom is really upset. Useless now in all caps. 1 star, obviously. The next one is don't buy this or the Wing Hub 2. 1 star. Like, it's all 1 star reviews. Oh, works well. Here's somebody. Verified purchase.
that's Will.i.am.
It's
account.
It's Will.i.am bot. So
unfortunately, there's no pros near me on Amazon to set up my Wing Hub 2. So.
Oh man, I definitely have one of these laying around back there somewhere. I recognize the box, but yeah, I figured they'd be dead long ago, but they keep hanging on. Maybe they'll get snapped up. Maybe Innovelli is teamed up with Wink.
Ooh,
maybe that's the partner. They've got Will.i.am coming in the door.
They said they had money.
Well, they got $5 a month. They're not spending. They're not buying the servers anymore. So it's a decent amount of change that's coming back to somebody.
That's true.
Innovelli, you laugh, but Innovelli survived a lot of companies lately. Like, like for a company that really has no product, well, they have their Zigbee product out now, but like they were suffering for a while, but they were able to survive through the storm, so I gotta give them credit.
Yeah, no, I like what they do with their customer service and the way they've structured their company to be like open. It's kind of cool. So, all right, well, this is kind of like the last couple stories. That kind of lead to this one. According to a new survey that shed light on how people feel about the technology in their homes, this survey talked about 900 respondents based in the U.S. and they were asked to share their thoughts about smart homes. On average, about 73% of those who took part mentioned how they were concerned about the smart devices in their homes, tracking them and listening to them. 75% of people that responded aren't happy with their smart home devices. So this is not very good numbers for the devices that are out there. 65% of respondents felt that their cameras had been hacked, and 33% had problems related with Alexa-based assistants. Imagine that. I mean, it does timers really well. I really like the timer thing. Anyway, some also had. We'll put a link to the actual survey. Some people had some problems with their smart locks, and there was a lot of people that were like concerned about security and like feeling like they were being hacked and that kind of thing with their smart devices. So, we were talking about that earlier with the HomeKit router thing. That's maybe a good idea, maybe a good move for Apple to kind of like help ease that trepidation, I guess, when it comes to installing cameras and stuff in the house. It says here with the negative reviews, there was a little bit of positivity. Around 60% of those who responded made claims about how the smart devices in their homes have really altered their lives. It includes the added level of protection from security systems and cameras, and making them feel safe at night while sleeping. So a little bit of positivity there with the security spin, but for the most part, people are just kind of like, still kind of arm's length. It feels like with getting smart home tech in. I thought this was funny. 55% are using the Alexa platform with Amazon, 32 with Siri, 22 with Nest, and 10 with Cortana. How is that even How is it even a thing? I don't understand how 10% of 900 random people that they found have Cortana anywhere near in their house. I don't
A
understand.
lie.
Is that the only one that they could name? Like they're like, I have a Windows computer and it has Cortana, so
Does it? I mean, I have a
yeah,
I have-
Windows 10 has it built in. So
maybe I just turn it off.
Did
And it
they
pops
take
up.
it out? Yeah, it's the first thing I disabled.
oh, maybe I don't know.
With the firewall now,
I
it's
can't
gonna
I
turn
can't
on.
keep track.
Oh, second thing, firewall first. Then Cortana starts working, and I gotta disable her.
Oh yeah, she's still there. I can pull her right up. But yeah, 10%. That's kind of I don't understand that.
That's a lot of angry people. I wonder how many of these people are actually Google and Wink users. That are so unhappy with their smart home. And this makes sense. I'm not gonna fact check this article because I don't know where they got all their facts from. They said it's a random.
It's just a random survey.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna fact check it or whatever. But I can see a lot of this, and I think a lot of people, especially in the DIY space, they don't trust or they don't know where their data is going. You buy these cameras, it goes to the cloud. You don't know where in the cloud, you don't know who owns it, you don't know what happens to it. All these sensors you're buying, they send your stuff to the cloud. Even if the sensor's local to the hub, it connects to the Amazon device. That Amazon device is sending that data from that sensor to the cloud. So they're harvesting all your data. So I can understand that. Things are a pain in the ass to set up, pain in the ass to keep working. They break randomly on days, and it's always the day when you need to get out the garage that the garage door won't open or something like that, right? Like it's stuff like that. And I think people are also being forced into buying smart devices that they're intimidated by. Like you can't buy a dumb TV nowadays, so you're intimidated by all these smart features. You just want a toaster, but that toaster has Amazon built in, and you have to put it into a network jack or connect it to your Wi-Fi.
Runs on PoE.
Yeah, and I think people are just getting intimidated by a lot of this stuff, and I can see why people are unhappy. Sometimes you just want to flush the toilet with a handle. Like you don't want to have to tell the A lady to ask SwitchBot to flush your toilet. You just want to push the handle. It shouldn't be so complicated, but I think things are just being overcomplicated now.
Well, one of the biggest things I always see whenever I go into somebody's house is a lot of people like to automate like everything, and they like to automate stuff without having a reason to automate it. I go into like a new build and it's like, well, all of our light switches are controlled, and it's like, okay, cool. Do you use any of that? Well, no. I mean, we basically just use it to like set up a timer for the outside. So it's a lot of times people just going out and just buying random devices without having any kind of game plan or knowing why they want it and using it, and then being like, well, this is silly. I don't know why I spent $60 on this light switch when it doesn't improve my life any at all. Because there are a lot of devices that really do improve your life, like a video doorbell or, security cameras, those kind of things where you may not use them all the time, but they work when you need them. And they're something that actually enhances your life a little bit. Yeah. And I will say maybe it is a bad idea for SwitchBot to come out with the toilet flusher if 52% of people think that the smart toilet is unnecessary. So maybe that's why they haven't released it yet.
Could be spying on you too. I mean,
recording your toots.
I saw that episode of The Boys last night where they had the never mind.
Anyway, can't talk about it.
It's just not right.
When it comes to your data, it comes down to like, I was reading in another article where they said, some of the things your Apple Watch can detect can say whether you're pregnant or not, and how that information can be used, not to get into politics and all that stuff, but used for bad things, for tracking people, for abortions, whatever, and it's like, do you have control over that data? Probably not, because it's all going up to Apple. And on the light switch thing, I started with 5 Inovellis, but it drove me nuts that they didn't match every other switch in my house. So I had to switch them all. Okay. Richard can appreciate the fact that all my switches look exactly the same.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I did find this interesting in this article here, that the most desired home products in the past, it's been security and cameras and that kind of thing. Light seems to be topping this survey, which is kind of the first time I've seen that happen. It used to be by far and away cameras, security, video doorbells, that kind of thing. Doorbells is actually down in the lower tier of this list, just right above blinds. Hey, there we go. But thermostat, security system, lights, those are the top ones, kind of in ascending order. And people are willing. They have invested an average of about $1,200, and are willing to invest on average about $2,500. So there's still want this stuff. I just think they want it to work better, or to be part of a more cohesive experience, like TJ, what you're talking about. Like, there's just no plan as to why you're doing this stuff. You're just doing it to do it. It doesn't make any sense. 1 in 10 have had to contact tech support about their smart tech, which seems kind of low, but whatever. I love the one here. It's like 3% of the people responded said they had to contact more than 6 times. That's pretty good. Most of which was for security camera systems, a little bit for their TV, a little bit for their doorbell. And lights is actually one of the lowest ones on there, which is surprising, because I don't know, maybe in the consumer light space it's a little easier, but lighting seemed to always haunt me when I was in the pro space and getting those systems fine-tuned and up for people.
Well, and I think lights probably one of those things too, where like if you're getting like switches, at least the lights will still work, even if like the home automation part of it doesn't work, compared to like, your security cameras. If the cloud's down, then you can't see your cameras at all. So some of that stuff is a little flexible. But I mean, yeah.
That support fact was actually really interesting, because a lot of the cheap products, there's nobody to contact for support, right? So when you're buying a product, it's always good to look at their support lines. I remember when Eero was, before they were bought by Amazon, I contacted their support a few times, and it was great support. They shipped out a new device. It was here within a couple of days, and I just shipped them back the old one. They did some great work. Same with Ring. I had to contact support a few times. I haven't done it since they've been acquired, so I don't know what it's like now, right? But it's something to keep in mind is the support. You will need to use it.
Yep. It says 2 in 5 people would not go back to living without smart tech. So we've only managed to convince 2 out of 5 people they need this tech in their home, and to not, that it's essential and they shouldn't leave. It says, which devices could you not live without? Security camera, of course, topping the list there. TV, I don't know why that's not the first one on the list, but I guess you don't need a smart TV, so to speak. Doorbell, lights, and sound system round out the bottom on that list. And then here are we talked about the most, like, the most used or the most wanted smart home tech, and here's the most unnecessary smart home devices, starting out at 59%. The smart toaster that runs on PoE. I don't even know about the smart toaster, but I got to find out about the smart toaster. I might get one.
You can control how dark you want your toast, like
with an app on my phone. Is that
it's great. It's
awesome.
And
you can do different images and stuff like that too.
What?
Oh yeah.
All right. I'm gonna check this out. 52%, which I highly disagree with, the smart toilet. Like, anybody who's ever experienced one of those Toto toilets really knows that this is just dumb. Like, whoever wrote this is like, smart toilet, why is this on the list? And they just checked it off, because those things are just amazing. 49% is the grill, which again, I'm gonna have to disagree with. If you have a Traeger grill and hook it up to your phone, so you don't have to get out there in the middle of the night and reload some firewood or whatever. I know they have them like where they just do them automatic, but it sure is nice to like sit in the comfort of your own home and check on the grill outside, make sure it's still cooking. And then refrigerator, which I think should be at the top of the list, and gym equipment, like at 25%. Gym equipment, like, I don't know, like, it seems like those devices, like, those have been really popular.
I just think I think a lot of these were just implemented bad and gave people a bad taste. Like the smart fridge, having that a lot of useless features, but I could see really useful features in a smart fridge, such as, what if the temperature in your fridge starts, is off by so much, and it lets you know, because then that means there's something wrong in your fridge, or your food could go wrong. That kind of smarts. But I don't need to watch the basketball game on my fridge door.
They put a TV on it.
Yeah,
they didn't do any of that.
Yeah. And that's why I say some of this is like useless stuff. Workout gym equipment, I think, is a great space for smart stuff. Can you imagine you're working out and you tap your watch and it automatically tracks, how much you ran and how much you did this, how many lifts you did, and then that's logged to your favorite app, and it works across all equipment because there's some standard somebody made. That would be perfect for that. But I think in the industry, everyone tried probably to lock it down. You have to use an app that's probably half baked, because that's just the way it is. And I think people have a bad taste with a lot of this stuff, but it can be done properly.
Well, yeah, 75% of them have a bad. 74% think smart home tech devices are unnecessary. So like,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot of people that still have a bad taste because of the poor implementation, like you're talking about. And there definitely were outliers, like the gym equipment stuff. The Peloton thing seemed to be super popular during the pandemic and around. It still seems to be kind of popular with some people who have kept up with it. But there definitely have been things that are like knockoffs that were like what do you call it? Like just not implemented very well. So like what you're saying.
And funny enough, Bruno actually just mentioned smoke or flood sensors. So, flood sensors, I have those in my house. I've actually saved me twice
Mm-hmm.
from leaks, so they actually are very valuable. Smoke is something I actually have a tab open with right now. I was looking at smoke detectors, and when you're making a smoke detector smart, you're not replacing the functionality of it. You're just adding to it, so it's still gonna beep and go off and do everything does, but it's going to send that it's Z-Wave, so it will send an extra notification to your hub so that you can get another notification when you're not home, right?
Right.
And that's only going to work for as long as your home's still standing, because once the fire hits your hub, that's it. It's gone. You ain't getting any kind of message. But I was looking at that, but they're not certified in Canada. I think First Alert makes the Z-Wave ones. I don't think I can use them in Canada, and that's big because we'll have to deal with insurance. But I'm still researching that. But great suggestion there.
Well, and a lot of these devices too, it's easy for us to kind of justify buying a $60 light switch or whatever it is. But we also have to remember that a lot of these devices are substantially more expensive than just like a normal device. I can go out and buy like a normal light switch for $1 or $2. But a decent connected, Wi-Fi switch is at least $20 or $30. And maybe you can get it cheaper with like a discount brand like Wise or something like that. But a lot of these smart home tech devices add a huge upfront cost to the device itself, and then it has to be maintained for an even longer period of time. So it's very easy at some point to kind of sour that relationship and make somebody regret their purchase.
And when the price does come down to the point where it's like a no-brainer to buy it, then you start getting those cheap devices, the ones that go to the cloud that are logging everything that are coming from China. You don't know where your data is going. You don't know where it is. And that's not a good thing either.
Yeah. I honestly don't know how water sensors aren't like required in code by now. Like the little automatic shut off valves that can
especially
all
in Florida. Holy cow.
The condo stuff I see happen here. And I've even seen like videos recently or just elsewhere. It's just like a water main can bust or something happens on a floor above and everything below it gets flooded, like all the way down. It's kind of wild. So yeah, I don't know how they're not required, even in a house. Like just put some sensors in and put the little shut off valve on the incoming line, and if something happens, the water turns off. You don't have to worry about it. Good to go. So anyway, let's move on here. Hopefully we can have better product. This is why we want nice things. We want people to have nice things. So hopefully we get better products here in the future and kind of move forward. And I got to look up this toaster, man. And I probably should look up the fire things as well. Smoke detectors. If I get the new toaster that can
First
print.
Alert.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. But all the links and topics discussed tonight can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/396. All right, nothing in the mailbag. Nothing in the mailbag this week, but we do have a pick of the week, and courtesy of Gavin. I'm just throw you under the bus now, but no, he actually we talked about this quite a bit before the show and the pre-show. There's a new Zoo Z-Wave Power Plus strip. That's really hard to say. It's basically, so this thing is a 5-outlet power strip. It's got a couple of USB ports on it too if you wanted to put some phone chargers or something into it, but each one of those outlets is controllable. It's got power sensing and all sorts of good stuff on it. Got timers, built-in timers to turn on and off outlets. This would be like the ultimate, like I use those what are they called, Wemo switches for the Christmas lights. Like this would be the ultimate one, because it's like you plug one in, you got 5 outlets, you can turn things on and off. It's great. But Gavin, you posted this in here. You said this thing is great. You've used them in the past, and this is even better now. This version 3 that just came out.
Yeah, so it's the Zeus Zen 20 power strip, and I had the original version of this, and the main thing I use this for is a charging station. So I have all my tool batteries. I plug them into there. When I want to recharge a tool battery, I plug it in, turn on the socket, and then it charges. And when it's done charging, it turns it off automatically afterwards. Right? It's like an automation. It lets me know it's done charging. Because I go through some of these batteries quickly when I'm doing the lawn and stuff like that. The problem was on the original one, it wasn't rated to handle battery chargers. So I blew that one pretty quick. In a month, it was dead. Zeus was great. They replaced it. I just don't have another use for it. Then I saw that they came out with a version 3, and they specifically said it was made to handle those chargers, those kind of power supplies that were causing problems before. And I reached out to them, and they confirmed that the battery chargers will no longer blow it. So I'm going to grab another one, and I'm going to set back up my charging station because I really like that. And I thought others would know, like they're great switches. They follow Z-Wave standards. They work great with all the hubs. 5 controlled power ports. The USB ports are not controllable, but you get power reporting on all the ports, and that's useful for certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
these things
use
are
case.
great. I had one. I used it with Smart Things, Vera, and some Home Assistant, I think, and it worked with all of them, no problem at all. The pairing process, I think, for some of the hubs was a little complicated, just because each device is its own device, or each outlet is its own device. But also, you can control the whole thing as well with one single button as well. So certain hubs just don't read that natively, and they kind of get confused. But in the long run, I was able to make them work. I used it for the longest time for plant and aquarium lighting. So for like our indoor garden or our aquarium lights, setting up schedules and stuff like that. Basically, just so I wouldn't have to have a bunch of different Z-Wave plugs in the one area. So
it's a good idea. Yeah, I was just looking at the list of integrations they have. It's a ton of stuff. Vera's on there, like you said, but so is the Wink and Wink 2. So
oh, perfect.
yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, no energy monitoring or advanced settings. But what are you gonna do? It's a non-working platform.
And ADT pulse. So if you have that, you're in luck.
Yeah, but also no energy monitoring, and it's on off only. Wait, yeah, that's kind of wild. But yeah, they've got a ton of. This is what I like to see with these types of integrations. Just tons of products, and this we didn't really say the price. It's like $70, 70 US dollars, so it's like 150 Canadian. But still, like price per port, if we're going to go that way, price per power port, PP. Yeah,
That's
price per
seven
power.
7 power ports there.
Yeah, those 2 USBs count for something.
Yeah, 5 watts each at least.
Yeah. And they do report on off status. So like if you can't control it, but if you plug a tablet or phone into it, it does report that it's turned on. So that's something. Like this is for a little tiny product with just like a couple of features that you can do a ton of stuff with this thing. So it's kind of cool. Really do like it. $70, good to go. So yeah, good pick of the week. I like it. I gotta find my notes. I don't know what I did with them. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. And guys, that wraps up another week here. Gavin, you're still working on the rack?
Yeah, but on last week's show, I bought the Aquara blind controllers live on the show. I actually, when I said on the show I hit buy, I actually did purchase it right at that moment. Right, they came in this week, and I actually set them up, and they actually work really good. So if you're into automating your curtains, for example, just keep in mind there's a few gotchas you got to worry about. Like, check to make sure the rail or it fits. You just got to make sure it fits, because I ran into that. So, a simple purchase started to balloon a little bit more because I had to buy a new curtain rods and stuff like that. So, but just make sure it fits. I ended up writing a driver for it, so I kind of had to pick it apart, but that's Aquara. That's why I hate these devices, but I love them because they don't follow standards, but I was able to reverse it to get the drivers working. So now I have automated curtains in my office that open and close based on light or time of day or whatever. I can control it through A-Lady. I'm really impressed how well they work.
Very nice, very nice. So we first sat down to record, and we hit record. They were shutting the blinds were shutting behind you. I didn't hear them. So is it pretty quiet?
They are pretty quiet. They're not too loud. Even though I have two of them going at once because it's
On
either
each side.
side, right?
Yeah.
So they aren't too loud. They're actually. I'll know tomorrow morning because I just set them up. So tomorrow morning when they open up at sunrise, if they wake me up, then they're going to be too loud, and somebody's going to tell me to turn that crap off. Won't say who, because I'm under NDA, but somebody will.
So the secret, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm under NDA too about someone who tried to watch a movie, and my server was crashed, and I was like, "That's it, I'm done with it." So the old HP 2011 enterprise grade server is going out to the trash can, and I just went ahead and just ordered everything I need to do an actual build, and the unraid thing seems pretty cool because I should be able to, in theory, take the drives out of what I have running, plug them into this thing, and it should detect and run with it. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. There's not really much on there.
Keyword is should.
Yeah.
The only thing that will
so.
get you is if the detected serial numbers changes, then it doesn't know how to associate the drives, but there's ways of reassigning them.
You can go in
so
and
that
drop,
it will.
yeah.
Not reassigning them, but actually saying these are actually the drives for this pool. Build it anyway. So that's just the one gotcha you can probably run into.
I think I've had to do that once before because of the way this strange RAID card that exists inside the server had to be hacked, and to actually allow it to read the sensors on the drives to tell me what the temperatures of them were. This thing's been a headache from day one, and it keeps crashing randomly, and I'm just not very interested in it. The only thing I do like is the form factor, the fact that it fits in a 2U rack space. It's not very loud right now, but it can be loud. But I got the special brown fans that you're supposed to get, that everybody knows. Like if you're PC shopping, they have the RGB fans and they have the brown fans, and I guess the brown fans are quiet. I don't know.
So it sounds like you're unhappy with your smart home right now, but you're willing to throw more money at it to solve the problem.
Yes, I'll throw more money in it to solve the problem. And the goal here would be not to have anybody to sit down. Like TV is supposed to be entertainment, not work. And the goal here is to sit down and be able to watch the movies that we have, or, fire it up, any time. And it's been like on off good. It's a lot better than what I had before, because that was very unreliable between running it on like a Mac Mini. Like Plex was on the Mac Mini and half on Mac Mini, half on the Synology. Wasn't all that great. This has been a lot better and more stable as far as like the connection between the Synology and the server, but the thing crashing or having kernel panics for whatever reason, probably because it's just on ancient technology. Like 2011 was a long time ago. Wink was like 2014 or something like that. So like you can see, like Wink has probably got some of these servers that they're just like, what are we doing? They keep crashing. And yeah, so this thing's gonna go. I'm done with the home lab experience. I'm going back to consumer grade PC and, seeing what happens.
Congratulations.
You gotta make sure that SAF, or the spouse approval factor, is at 100%, or else all of it's a waste. So
no, it's going in the rack. I got a rack mount case. There's no LEDs that are going to be built into this thing. It's going to hide away in this giant box that I have right here. And then she's not gonna. No, nobody's gonna see anything. There's not even gonna be. There's just gonna be some junk down by the trash can on Friday or something.
So you're basically hiding it so she doesn't know.
There's a sheet covering it right now. This is a green screen, but it's a sheet covering all the stuff that I've got. So yeah, it's just gonna work, and she's not gonna know. It's just gonna work from now on. That's my.
It just got better.
Yeah, I don't know.
Amazing.
Yeah,
there's an update.
It's always easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission.
Yeah. Well, this one should be fun, but I don't know. I got to build a computer. I haven't done that in a long time. So seems kind of easy.
That's the most fun thing out of the whole process. So I'm jealous. I'll build it for you. You can do the rest of it.
Okay. You can build the computer. Gavin, you're supposed to be setting up the Blue Iris on that guy's house. I don't know if you've ever gone back and done that, but I haven't gone and touched it since you said you were going to do it. Yeah. No, I there's a reason I haven't built a computer in a long time. I haven't wanted to.
Don't need to?
No, yeah. You just like buy a laptop and it's perfect. And now I don't know. So Anyway, I'll have all the parts by Thursday. It looks like is what they're saying. Now, whether that happens or could be true, could be false. Who knows? It's coming from Canada, so it could take 3 weeks. It could be in customs.
Why does all your stuff come from Canada?
I
All
have no
Gavin's stuff
idea.
comes from America.
No, it's in DFW right now. So there we go. It'll be here by Friday, Thursday or Friday. So yeah, there we go.
The stuff is faster to come down than it is to come up, so you'll get it. You'll get it.
Can't complain. Can't complain. So, well, I'll get back to my notes. I don't know what we're doing. That's it. All right. Well, that's it for this week. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, the Hub, where it has been busy the last couple of days, but the biggest thing in there right now that I just cannot let go is Richard got his engravings back from Leviton there, and they're crooked. Like they're not centered, and I can't unsee what he posted. And he'll probably talk about this on his show. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But we were talking about earlier. We should like take over and under bets on like when these are coming down and getting swapped out, or he's gonna like figure out how to do his own engraving. But the accent one bugs me the most. You guys were saying coffee time bugs you guys?
Coffee time looked like it was 1/10 of a centimeter off. I mean, he wouldn't notice that because he doesn't have centimeters on his tape measure there, but it's a little off.
Yeah, I don't really get bothered by this kind of stuff, but I think this would bother me though. Like every time I just looked at it, like coffee time and the clean/all off they just look too high on the button for me, and they just like everything else is like in the center. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But
accent is not in the center. Accent is bumped up.
No, definitely not in the center, but more in the center than like the other ones at least.
Yeah, they are in the center like vertically, but not like horizontally. They're not matched to the center of the button for some reason.
They must have let the intern engrave the buttons. So
yeah, they've got some work to do in that process for sure. Because the accent one would bug me. Like I'd have to get that one redone. Coffee time at a distance. The other one clean on off. That one I could give forgiveness to because you wouldn't be able to see that. But accent, that one.
Just do the Gavin approach. Just throw some white label tape on there and be done with it.
Well, you pay money for this too. That's
a label maker.
This is your PBB. Like this gets your price per button up. And yeah, I don't know. Like it's in the Hub. If you're in there, go check it out. Very, very, very interesting to see. It's actually the labeling doesn't look as bad as I thought. But anyway, there's been a lot going on. There's been pictures of like installs and everything in there. So if
that I found interesting. Owen's install there, seeing how they did the steps. That was a great like round of pictures. I appreciate the people that post these kind of pictures. Like, and TJ posted some pictures of wire cleanup he did this week, some installs and stuff. I love seeing that stuff. Like the before and afters. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's been a lot of it's been fun watching that stuff fly by in here. So. You guys keep working, keep doing more and posting them because we're enjoying it. I don't get to see that much stuff very often anymore, but yeah, I'll live vicariously through your jobs. maybe we'll swap. I'll come up and help do an install one day, and you'll build my computer.
Perfect.
There we go.
Well, actually, I'm coming down in December. Maybe at that point we'll just swap.
Yeah,
you have to watch my cat though. Sorry.
All right, if you want to help about the show but can't support the show financially, totally understand. We just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That wraps up another week here on Home Tech. From everyone here, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care. Bye. Come on, TJ. You gotta do something. Seth, can you cut out his bye from one of the earlier episodes? Just edit it every show now.
We'll just use that one every time.
Yeah. I was using that AI thing that like the editor Descript to like edit the show this last week, and I was like, I bet there's a way I could just like type in like TJ saying something at the end. Like you can just type in a sentence and it'll render your voice and say it. And I got to it and I was going to do it, and then
It crashed.
it didn't do it. The program is just not great. It's not. Yeah. It took me like maybe 4 to 5 times as long as it should to edit the podcast down, rather than my speedy way of doing things. Bye, Bruno.
Bye, Bruno.
If you're still doing lights, give me a call. Contact me, please. I need to talk to you about LED lights if you're still doing lights. Anyway, yeah, the I don't know, like the one I have, I kind of want to move away from, but it's so fast for like the workflow I have. I burn through an hour-long podcast in maybe an hour. And this one took maybe 4 or 5 hours. I'm like, this is supposed to be faster. You're supposed to be able to detect things, and it's supposed to pull out the stuff, and it just didn't do it. Like, it just did not work the way as advertised. I wrote them a nasty little, like, I'm breaking up with you. You can keep my money, but I'm breaking up with you. And then I haven't got a response back, but I suspect they know that their Electron app doesn't work all that well.
You just gotta use what works. In the end, what works for you.
Yeah, I just need to come to terms with the little what is it? I'm using Hindenburg. It's made for this kind of thing. It's made for radio edits. It's not anything advanced, but it works really well. Like, one of the things that Descript does, like if you have audio and you cut it off of you cut it mid-wave, there's a pop like every time. So if you're playing something back and you hear a pop, that means you didn't cut on the bait, like the 0 line where the waveform was going through 0. And that's like the most basic audio editing thing ever. And for whatever reason, and maybe it was just Descript just messing up, I don't know, but I would edit something and then hit it play back and there'd just be pops. And I'm like, I can't handle it. And I'd go back and I'd kind of adjust the little thing and the pops go away. Hindenburg is smart enough to say, whenever you cut something, and I'm just going to cut on the 0 line rather than, so they've got all these little short things in there, and I was hoping to speed things up by moving to something that can give me like a transcript, and you just go in and delete. No, it just takes longer. It takes way longer. So I don't know anybody could use that and not be frustrated out of their mind. But there's plenty of people who use it and swear by it. But I might try and edit on an iPad this week, so we'll see what happens.
I gotta edit like 3 videos I shot today, and they're like a couple minutes long, and I'm not looking forward to it. I don't have the skill set or patience for that kind of thing. So
video editing, my wife is big on that, but she uses her phone for everything, and it's just amazing what she can do on it now. Like, she's gotten really good at it. Like,
TJ, get her email. Just send her the video.
I was gonna say, I'll just send her.
Don't tell her about the computer, but just say, I'll just say that I'm paying you or something. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for joining in. Looks like we had a couple people pop in. I'm not sure who the other one was, but Greg, Bruno, thanks for swinging by.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, good seeing you.